13th year out of Notre Dame. He will kick away to Joshua Cribbs. Back deep for the Cleveland Browns. Cribbs had a 90-yard kickoff return for a touchdown last year, week 6, versus the Detroit Lions. He has the speed. He can get around the corner. John Carney is ready to put foot to ball, and we are underway the 2006 season. Right here on Fox. Cribbs at the 5. He's got a lane, runs into a brick wall, and he'll go down at the 25-yard line. The Browns offense, Charlie Frye, as we just said, his 6th NFL start. Started the last 5 games of the season. The local product from Willard, Ohio, just 75 miles southwest of Cleveland.
Ronnie, Charlie Frye is going to be moved a lot today. I think they'll try to move his launch point. They won't keep him right in the pocket. They'll try to throw quickly, bootleg him, get him out on the perimeter some to make him more difficult for the Saints defense to contain.
Ron Pitts, Terry Donahue, and Tony Rizzo set for the first play. Frye, pressure, left tackle. He steps up, a flag is down. He goes deep, wide open is Braylon Edwards. Edwards will score, but this one might come back. Probably going to get a hold against Cleveland.
Holding, offense, number 77. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
And referee Jerome Boger confirms. 74-yard touchdown wiped out. Some changes on the offensive line, particularly at the center position. They went through 4. They finally brought in Hank Fraley, traded him from Philly, and he'll be the starter inside. The backs and receivers, Reuben Drones, the quietest 1,000-yard rusher you'll probably ever see. He's gone over 1,000 yards for the last 2 years. Winslow back in the lineup after missing almost 2 years, and you just saw Braylon Edwards. We said they were fired up. And that was a quick strike. Too bad it didn't count. Drones inside, not much there. Hit immediately Scott Shanley, the 4-year man out of Nebraska, brought in training camp from Dallas. Up front, they'll go with Grant and Will Smith on the outside. Hollis Thomas brought in a trade with the Eagles. He'll try to give him some run support at the defensive tackle. Semino, Shanley, Fujita. They've redone the linebacking core. The secondary has been picked on quite a bit. They could get tested today. 2nd down and long. Jurevicius in motion. Pressure. Nice job of avoiding, but he can't get away. Sack. Will Smith.
Ron, one of the things the Saints defense is going to try to do on early downs, they're going to try to stop the run. They're going to try to make Cleveland one-dimensional. They're going to put 8 guys in the box. They're going to try to make Charlie Frye beat him with the pass. The other thing they're going to do, once they do that, they're going to try to contain Charlie Frye with their 2 good defensive ends, Will Smith and Charles Grant. Those are the keys to the Saints defense.
3rd down and 21. Northcutt in short motion. Plenty of time, no place to go. 2nd sack in a row. This time it's Brian Young. And the Saints defense steps up thanks to a holding penalty on the first play. And they'll get the punt.
The Saints defense really comes out here, Ronnie, and I think does a great job of trying to get this Cleveland offense on its heels immediately.
And you know who this is. The Heisman Trophy winner will get his first touch of his NFL career. Reggie Bush back to receive the Zastudil punt, standing at the 50-yard line. He's going to have some room with this, folks. Plenty of room. Misjudges it, picks it up, and here we go. Gets a block and heads out of bounds close to the 50-yard line. 11 yards on the return. Those punts can be tricky now. I've been back there, Coach.
You're not kidding. That's a hard job for anybody. Reggie Bush in his first punt in the NFL gets it misjudged a little bit. But once again, he's so athletic. He can pick up the ball, and you can see him here. He's got such a glide about his motion and style running. He just is an excellent, excellent guy with the ball. And this guy's going to settle down, and he's going to be fine. Trust me.
A tremendous amount of pressure for Bush coming into this game. Everybody in the country wanting to know what Reggie Bush is going to do in his first NFL game. 1st and 10 for the Saints. Drew Brees, his first pass in the regular season as a Saint, and it's knocked down. Drew Brees, the $60 million man, signed a free agent contract in the offseason from the San Diego Chargers, had the shoulder surgery, the torn labrum. Some doubts out there in San Diego as to what he would be able to do. They had the first rounder, Phillip Rivers, so they decided to go with him. And Brees heads on to New Orleans. 2nd and 10, play action, the boot, the deep comeback, looking for Joe Horn, and it's incomplete. The rest of the offense, the offensive line. Jamal Brown started at right tackle 13 times last year. He'll move over to the left side. Jeff Fain, the former Cleveland Brown, traded in the offseason, and he replaces the departed Charles Bentley, who actually came to Cleveland but hurt his knee in the very first training camp practice, and he is gone for the year.
You know, Ronnie, the Saints, the most important thing they do, they have to protect Drew Brees. He is the key to their season, in my opinion, and he's got a bad shoulder in the sense that he's coming off that surgery.
Reggie Bush at the top of your screen. Here it is, pass, catches it, and that should be a Saints first down. Ralph Brown on the coverage, and they move the chains.
Really a nice job by the Saints getting Reggie Bush out at wide receiver. He simply runs down the field, turns around, but there you got a glimpse of his hands. He catches like a wideout. Even though he's a running back, he can catch that ball in his hands. He turns up, makes the first down.
A pickup of 11 for Bush. Ball resting at the Cleveland Browns 41-yard line. Bush in motion, fake the reverse. They'll hand it off to McAllister inside. And McAllister down to about the 37-38-yard line. DeQuell Jackson on the tackle. Up front, the Browns will run a 3-4. Look at the big man inside. Yep, that's Ted Washington. 16 years in the league. 985 career tackles. Willie McGinnis, another free agent brought down from New England. A former player of Romeo Crennel's. Won 3 Super Bowls. He understands the defense. The secondary. They'll go with Bodden, Baxter, Russell, and Jones. Bush trying to get outside, gets away from one, and trips out of bounds at about the 35. And coach, he might find it a little more difficult to turn the corner in this league.
Well, there's no question, particularly against the Browns defense. Now, they have really good outside ends in Willie McGinnis and Matt Stewart. Their job is to make sure that ball stays inside, and they did a great job on that particular play. Reggie Bush is not going to be able to flank this defense as easily as he did in college.
Bush led the nation in all-purpose yards last year, averaging 222 per game. 3rd and 4. McAllister, the cutback. 4 yards. McAllister driving his legs. It's going to be close. Let's see how they mark it. The Saints' all-time leading rusher was out for the season last year after the knee injury after game 5, and he gets enough for the first.
Ron, I'm really impressed with Sean Payton so far in this game. He's the play caller for the Saints, and he's doing a great job getting the ball to the personnel that can really help him win. He's getting that ball to Bush. He's getting that ball to McAllister. Those are the guys, along with Joe Horn, that are explosive for the Saints.
Play action to Bush. Looking down the seam, it's not there. Flips it to Bush. Bush can't hold on. And, you know, talking to Drew Brees last night, he made that point about Sean Payton. He said he does a great job of putting the players in a position to do what they do best. And he used the case in point of, he looked at most of my San Diego Charger film, and he said the plays that I did well and the plays that were high percentage completions, we're going to run those here.
And he did the same thing with Deuce McAllister. He looked at, saw what he did well. He saw what Reggie Bush did well. He put it in his offense. That's good coaching.
2nd and 10 after the drop by Bush. Bush will get the call on the run. Picking, looking for a lane, and he can't get it. Willie McGinnis 13-year man out of SC comes up with a tackle, 3 yards on the pickup.
When you talk about Reggie Bush, one of the things you want to do is watch his feet. He's always dancing in the hole. He's got magical feet. He can jump in a hole and jump out of a hole as good as anybody.
3rd down and 7. So far, Reggie Bush has been used quite a lot. Been back on punts. Caught a quick route out of the backfield. Here's a 3rd down. There's another catch. But a flag is down. The play is stopped. Saints with a 3-13 year. Last in the NFC South. The Browns 6-10. Tied for last in the AFC North.
But you know, in visiting with both these teams, Ron, prior to the game, you didn't get the impression that these teams were downtrodden at all. It's a new season, new coaches, new philosophies. Both of these teams were talking about playoffs and things like that.
Illegal formation. There was no receiver lined up on the end of the line of scrimmage. Has been declined. 4th down.
Have to have 7 men on the line of scrimmage. Illegal formation. They decline the punt and make it decline the penalty and make it 4th down. And it looks as though the Saints are going to go for it. And if they do decide to go for this, Coach, do you like the call?
Well, you know, I do. I think that Sean Payton is going to be very aggressive in his play calling. And I think you come out, particularly early, if you watch the Saints in this opening drive, they've had this all scripted. They've wanted to get the ball to their playmakers. They have planned this for some time now. Now they get in the decision, do you pooch punt it and try to play field position, or do you go ahead and go for it? I think at this particular point in the field, I think you probably go for this.
They may be trying to decide whether or not the play was indeed dead. Were they able to stop it? Our referee Jerome Boger has been busy. Romeo Cornell. Here's
the
Boger.
discussion was the catch was ruled completed and short of the line to gain. It will now be 4th down.
All right. So everyone seemed to relax. The catch by Bush was good but short, and it looked as though Reggie just kind of ran out of bounds because he heard that the play was stopped. And I think that's why Drew Brees is arguing. That's a little funky. Well, whatever the case, John Carney will come on. He'll attempt this one from 43 yards out. He was 8 of 12 last year from this distance. Hit a long of 49 yards last year, so he's got the leg. Not too breezy here. Kick is up, it's clean. And the New Orleans Saints draw the first blood of the 2006 season. The Saints 3 and the Browns nothing here in the first. Ron Pitts, Terry Donahue here in Cleveland. 10-play drive, 27 yards, capped off by the 43-yard field goal by John Carney. Reggie Bush on the drive, 4 touches, 23 yards. 2 of them through the air, 2 of them on the ground. I would say that Sean Payton got him involved, wouldn't you?
Well, I think he did a great job getting him involved. That'll make him relax more. And now he'll just be in a regular football game.
Onside kick, no. The ball fell off the tee. See, Coach, I was ready. I had my knees bent, I was ready.
Tell you one thing, it looked like one of my golf swings on the first tee.
Well, and what an enjoyable young man to talk to last night. We had a chance to sit down with him.
He was a lot of fun, and you know, he's loose, really. I mean, this guy's been in a lot of big games in college at Southern Cal, and he doesn't seem to be awed by any of this NFL thing. He's just going to play football, and I do think that Sean Payton is going to make a real concerted effort just to get him into the game and to utilize him and get him relaxed so he can just play and be himself. He's got talent.
Ball stays on the tee this time, but it's a very short kick. Cribbs at the 6. Heads back out to the sideline. still going, worms his way up to about the 25-yard line. And that's where the Saints will try to defend the Browns. 3-0, New Orleans. Browns offensive coordinator Maurice Carthon trying to get this offense back going in the right direction. Last year, not a good indicator. They finished up 25th in run offense, 23rd in pass offense. And that first drive was not a step in the right direction. They lost 19 yards in sacks and penalties, including a 75-yard touchdown pass wiped out because of the penalty. This is Jerome Harrison, the 5th-round pick out of Washington State. I got to tell you, Coach, this Saints defense came to play. No yards in the game. Charles Grant involved in that one.
Well, you know, prior to the game, you heard a lot about the Saints defense with new linebackers, a lot of new personnel, and there was real talk that there wasn't going to be much enthusiasm out of this defense. But so far now, they've controlled the line of scrimmage, and Cleveland really has not been able to run the ball at all.
Will Smith, actually the man that stopped that play up with the force from the defensive end spot. Edwards in motion. 2nd and 10, play action. Plenty of time, dumps it down. That's Winslow, and Winslow is hit immediately. He may have lost yardage on the play. Scott Vegeta, another Dallas Cowboy brought in free agency. A pickup of 1 by Winslow.
When you talk about the Saints defense, Ronnie, they came into this game and they said they are going to make Cleveland one-dimensional. On first down, early rundowns, they are going to stack the line of scrimmage, and so far they've done exactly that. Cleveland has not been able to get anything going on early downs and get ahead of the down and distance. They're forcing Charlie Frye to beat him with his arm.
3rd down and 8. Saints bluffing pressure. They just rushed 4. No place for Frye to go. Holding the ball a long time, going deep. There's coverage, and it's knocked away. No flags. Great job by Josh Bullock. The fans want the yellow hanky. They're not going to get it.
Well, you got Dennis Northcutt here just going deep, and he's just running a streak. There was plenty of time for Frye. It certainly looks like there's some contact there by Bullock.
But as long as Bullock is looking back at the ball, they're going to let him get away with it. I know from going to the NFL officials meetings in the offseason, Coach, it's got to be flagrant. It's got to be right there before they're going to call it. That's kind of one of the points of emphasis.
Well, that's because you played DB.
That too. And this is Bush. He didn't play DB. He's just trying to get out of a mess and gets into a bigger mess and goes all the way back to the 10-yard line. Mason Unk hustling down as a backup linebacker to make the play. 54 yards on the punt and a loss of 5 on the return. And we've got a penalty against Cleveland. No flag went down. We didn't see one, but Jerome Boger is waving everyone back.
Boy, if you're Cleveland, you hate to kick this ball again.
That's
you
right.
had a great kick, and you get tremendous coverage, and now they're bringing it back.
An eligible player of the kicking team downfield, number 58. 5-yard penalty, replay, 4th down.
That will go against DeQuell Jackson, number 58. The coverage is where it's got to be.
Well, when you're kicking to Reggie Bush, you've talked to your team about making sure you keep him corralled. You want every white shirt on that coverage team to get after that ball carrier, number 25. Cleveland did it, but now you got to go back after doing that and do it all over again, and you've got 25 standing back there again, and he's going to get another shot at it.
Bush with a 12.7 career return average at SC. That included 3 touchdowns. Last year, he returned 1 touchdown. We were joking before the game because the word coming out of Cleveland has been, well, he hasn't done it at this level yet. Do you kick to him? Yeah, you kick to him until he does it.
Sundays, sponsored by Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way. By Gridiron Gang in theaters September 15th, rated PG-13. By State Farm, great service and great rates. You can get it all from State Farm. And by Chevrolet, America's brand, Chevy, an American revolution.
We're going to re-kick this after the timeout as you look at Bush. Cleveland dismal on the first 2 possessions, 2 3-and-outs, and a loss of 22 yards. Ouch. Zastudil has been kicking the ball well. He shanks this one. These are usually return balls. Bush at the 43. He's around the corner, looking to reverse field, makes one miss, and makes it a very exciting run out to the 45-yard line. 38-yard punt, 13 yards on the return. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, most of you will see the Red Sox and the Yankees renew their rivalry, or the Phillies and Astros will square off. With others, we'll see the White Sox battle the A's in a possible playoff preview. Coverage begins 1 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on Fox. 1st and 10 for Drew Brees, ball at the 45-yard line. Over at the I formation, handed off inside to Mike Carney, and Mike Carney has a couple. Let's go out to Los Angeles for the first time today and check in with Chris Rose.
All right, Ron, all the talk in Houston has been how the Texans passed on Reggie Bush with the #1 pick. Here they're just passing David Carr to the former Bill Eric Moulds from 25 yards out. They lead the Eagles 7-zip. Back now to Cleveland and Ron and Terry.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. That's right, the Houston Texans surprised everybody, passing on Bush, taking Mario Williams, a defensive lineman, instead. And the Browns brass, Saints brass, just about jumped through the roof with a chance to select that man in the first spot.
Ron, when you watch the Saints play, I watched them in the offseason, and I think the acquisition of Drew Brees, and then you put him with Reggie Bush, and then you go ahead and put those two with Deuce McAllister, it gives the organization some real hope for the future. If the Saints can keep Brees protected and keep him healthy, he's going to be able to hit enough balls, and McAllister and Bush are going to be able to create enough offense with their legs. They're going to be a factor.
Corner blitz, and they throw to that side. Intercepted. Sean Jones came down from the safety spot. We just talked about Brees. He pulled the trigger a little bit late.
Drew Brees has been known to be very accurate and very careful with the ball, but on this particular case, the ball just came out late, and Sean Jones made a great break on it. You don't really see safeties make those kinds of breaks, but he is a young player, and he's very, very quick, and he has coverage skills that a lot of safeties don't.
That's the first career interception for Sean Jones. Play action, the throw inside, and it's complete. Dennis Northcutt.
I think the Browns are going to have to throw a lot on first down right now, Ronnie, to get the Saints defense loosened up. The Saints are packing that line. The Browns need to come out and throw more on first down, get that defense a little bit softer so that they can get back to their running game. That's what they did on that last play.
2nd down and 2, full house. Drones looks as though he got enough for the first down.
The Browns offensive line, the center, Hank Fraley, he's a new addition to the Browns. They've gone through 4 centers before this season even started. Fraley's a veteran from Philly. He's a rough, tough, rugged guy inside, and you see him right there. He's been in this war many, many times. He's got a whole lot of an experience behind him.
71 starts up there in Philly. Lost his job to Jamal Jackson, but he was one of Andy Reid's lunchbox guys. As you see, they're just short of the first down. You saw the way he grabbed and twisted there.
He's done that his whole career.
You better know how to grab some cloth as a center in this business.
But you know, the Browns have had such a difficult time with the center position. This year, they come in, Bentley, the free agent they signed from New Orleans, gets hurt in the first 11-on-11 drills in camp. Then Holland retires, the second string center. They go through a bunch of centers. They finally get Lenny Friedman signed, and now they've got Hank Fraley. So that's hard on the quarterback too now. You're up underneath different centers every week. That's hard on Charlie Frye. He's only a second-year player.
That's a different rear end every week. On the short down and distance, Vickers tried to turn the corner and got blasted. Mike McKenzie came up, and I don't know if he got it. It's all going to come down to the spot. The corner coming up, laying some wood.
Now the Saints, you can watch McKenzie up at the top of the screen. The Saints defense can really run to the ball now.
Way.
And he didn't make the first down. That was great run support by the right corner. McKenzie, you can see him right here with a form tackle. He gets his head across the front, and that running back just can't make those sticks.
The Saints have drastically improved their run defense from a year ago. They were ranked 27th in the NFL, giving up 4.3 yards a crack. And they have been doing all the cracking here today. Fourth down coming up. The Browns are going for it. 3-0 Saints. Fourth down coming up now for the Cleveland Browns, and they've got their heavy head group in the game.
Ron, I think the Browns will run to the right side behind Ryan Tucker, Cozy Coleman, maybe Steve Heidman over here.
Winslow in short motion. Roll out. Winslow goes back inside to Joe Juravicius, and that's a first down, but we've got a flag down at the 49-yard line. A pickup of 20 yards, but it will be wiped out.
Holding, offense, number 60. 10-yard penalty, replay, fourth down.
That's Cozy Coleman, the right guard.
The Saints here, they believe the ball's going to go to Winslow here, and they've got double coverage on him, but sure enough, Joe Juravicius sneaks in behind him for that throw. Charlie Frye makes a great throw. He's very good on the run. It's one of his real strengths to get him outside the pocket, let him throw. But sure enough, another penalty gets the Cleveland Browns. They have self-destructed here in the early parts of this ball game.
So after the big turnover, the interception by Sean Jones, the Browns can't get anything going thanks to the penalty, and Zassadil has been busy today. They'll punt again to Reggie Bush. Bush standing at the 10. He'll let this one bounce. Zassadil hoping for inside the 10 love. It rolls into the end zone for the touchback. 3-0 Saints, 3:53 here in the first quarter. Well, this is the guy you wanted to see, and here's what he's done so far. Mrs. Judge is the first punt, but gets a hold of it. The first catch, that was good for a first down, and his first rush. Just off tackle for a couple.
And the thing you like on the catch, Ronnie, he caught the ball in his hands. He looked like a wide receiver, and on that run, he had those little magical feet that he has, and that's going to make him a great back in this league. This guy has that vision and the ability to jump away from defenders.
Sean Payton said he loved the way the Trojans used him throughout his career. Used him enough to make a serious impact, but not so much that they burned him out and beat him up. Play action, going down the field, caught. That'll be the rookie, Marcus Colston, the 7th-round pick out of Hofstra, a guy that they talk an awful lot about. He replaces the departed Dante Stallworth, who's in Philadelphia. That's a pickup of 20.
Well, you know, they talk about Colston. He runs down the field and catches his ball, and he is a big physical guy, 6'4", 230 pounds. He's almost half wide receiver, half tight end. Right. And you know, Sean Payton says, I like big receivers. I want them in the organization.
Bush with the stretch play, bounces it outside and runs right into Lee Bodden and takes a shot. As we said earlier, that corner will not be there quite as easily as it was in college. A pickup of 4.
No, but he did a nice job here, Ronnie, bouncing the ball outside. You can watch his feet again. He has the ability to take that ball. He starts off tackle, then he can bounce it outside. And that kind of versatility is tough on a defense because you stop the off tackle play and all of a sudden this guy has the ball outside on you.
4 rushes for 12 yards for Reggie Bush. 2nd down and 6. Mike Carney is injured out of the game. Keith Joseph takes his place, number 33. There's a slant inside and another catch to Colston. It's funny what Sean Payton said about Colston, that I came to camp waiting and waiting and waiting for Dante Stallworth to make an impact, and he never made it. And in the meantime, Colston did.
Well, Colston, you know, you don't think a 7th-round pick out of Hofstra is going to be ready to start his first NFL game on opening day. You just don't believe that when you go to training camp. But those reps enabled him to get better and better and show the coaches what he could do.
Makes you think about a Wayne Corbett. Handoff inside to McAllister. And McAllister hit hard to Quell Jackson, another rookie. The 2nd-round pick out of Maryland. A lot of rookies on the field for both teams today. Guys making impacts. And I think that's a sign. And coaches are saying, listen, I'm not going to try to build a team through old free agents and guys that have been passed on. We're going to try to do it with young guys and the guys we draft high. Or low in this case.
Yeah, I think you need a blend. You know, you need that veteran leadership, that experience, but you have to play your young rookies. You've got to get them in the game.
2nd down and 7. Bush. Bush with a breakout. Reggie Bush still going. Bush all the way down to the 26-yard line. An outstanding run, 18 yards for Bush.
We said in the opening of this game that Reggie Bush was a real good inside runner because he had great vision. He has tremendous avoid. He makes people miss, and he's also much stronger than people think. He can break tackles. That run right there shows you the explosiveness of Reggie Bush and why he's going to be successful in the NFL.
Browns ranked 30th in the league last year against the rush. So the Saints should expect to give him a heavy dose of the run. That's McAllister.
Ron, I really, really am impressed with Sean Payton so far. His play calling, the way he's mixing plays, the way he's getting Bush involved early in this game, the way he's making sure Deuce McAllister touches that ball, because he's got a starting tailback in McAllister. He needs to make sure that he's active in the game as well.
Looks as though they're attending the Bush. Doesn't seem to be anything serious. Brees on the rollout. Coverage is perfect downfield, and he throws it out of bounds. Looked like Quell Jackson was in on the coverage, and they're giving attention to Reggie Bush down by his leg. We'll try to get a report from that. That's Mike Carney, the bruising fullback, 3rd-year man out of Arizona State. He's got a little ice on that calf. 3rd down and 4 as we wind down time here in the first as you look at Bush on the day. McAllister alone in the backfield. Slant, caught. Looks like Devery Henderson, and that should be a 1st down. Devery Henderson, 2nd-round pick back in 2004. He gets him a little closer as time winds down here in the 1st quarter. And it's been all Saints, 3-0 New Orleans. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. 6 live from Cleveland Browns Stadium in Cleveland. Ron Pitts, Terry Donahue, Tony Rizzo. We start the 2nd quarter. Play action, looking for the dump off. And he just throws that one out of bounds. Let's go down to the 3rd member of our crew today, Tony Rizzo.
Thank you very much, guys. Right now you're looking at Carney. He's on the bench. He has a calf injury. His return is doubtful. Reggie Bush also came over to the bench. He was a little shaken up, but he is back in the game now.
All right, Tony, and there is Reggie back out in the field. The scoring has been very minimal. 43-yarder by John Carney. The Saints defense has been extremely stout, especially against the run. This drive, 9 plays, 68 yards by the Saints offense. Handoff to Deuce on the draw. Deuce is loose, and Deuce is down close to the 5-yard line. They'll probably mark it somewhere around the 7. And you had to wonder when the Saints brought in Reggie Bush, what that would mean to this man, Deuce McAllister. We talked about the injury last year. After the 5th game, he was gone for the rest of the season. He's put together 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. As you said earlier, Coach, he's not going to just go away. He's going to be there and have something to say about it.
Pickup and SUV. Gasoline and E85 ethanol. Haul and tow. The all-new 2007 Chevy Avalanche, the most flexible vehicle out there.
Freshly baked artisan bread, real Genoa salami, lean ham, sun-dried tomato vinaigrette. Introducing Wendy's Frescata Italiana. For an Italian original, go to Wendy's and do what tastes right.
Are coming too.
Introducing Red Zone Deep Cleansing Body Wash, the active formula with microbeads. Cleans deep down to the pore.
I thought you said he was a fan.
Old Spice Deep Cleansing Body Wash. Nothing cleans deeper.
Boog, are you awake?
I am now.
Awesome.
On September 29th,
The hunters are here.
Hunters!
the fate of the forest
Come on, let's go.
is in the hands of Boog and Elliot.
I ain't going out without a fight.
Did he say the F word?
Martin Lawrence,
Now let's kick some hunter bahookie.
Let her rip!
Ashton Kutcher,
Y'all are crazy.
open season. Rated PG. Also in IMAX 3D.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Wendy's new Frescata Italiana sandwich. Do Wendy's, do what tastes right. By Radio Shack. By FedEx for all your shipping needs. And by Chevrolet, America's brand. Chevy, an American revolution.
Third down and 5 for the Saints. Ball on the 7-yard line.
This is where a big receiver like Marcus Colston comes into effect, Ronnie. He's a big body. Drew Brees may like him here.
He's up top. Throwing in the zone coverage. Checks it down to Reggie Bush, and Bush can't hold on. Willie McGinnis had a beat on him. And a quick look at the first quarter numbers, and it's obviously been all Saints.
The biggest surprise to me so far in this game, Ron, has been the fact that Cleveland has just been unable to do anything offensively. You know, with Northcutt, Edwards, Winslow, Jurevicius, you would have thought that they would have been able to come out and move the ball themselves a little bit, but the Saints defense has just dominated them, particularly in getting them behind the down and distance.
This will be Carney from 25 yards out. And Carney is clean. So the Saints put together a great drive and add to the lead, 6-0. The dog pound here in Cleveland, and the Browns lead this series 11-3. In fact, back in 1968, these two teams were actually in the same division called the Century Division.
Rivals.
So they've got some
those,
history.
Yeah, rivals in those days, right?
Since 1999, since the new Browns came back to town, the Browns have opened up right here at home every year. Carney to kick it away. Cribbs, good kick by Carney. He'll take this one at the goal line. He's got a lane. There goes Joshua Cribbs, and Cribbs is out close to the 40-yard line. 39 yards on the return, finally brought down by Keith Joseph. And they needed that for field position.
Well, they needed that just for a shot in the arm to get their offense going. Joshua Cribbs, he's a fearless special teams player. He really will take a kickoff and go all the way up the middle, and he doesn't care who's there. He just hits this thing 100 miles an hour, and he's given the Browns good field position at the 40-yard line.
And they need it because the first 3 drives that had 3 3-and-outs, 94 yards called back because of penalties. They'll start off with a pass, a quick hitter inside. And it's clean, caught the second catch of the day by Kellen Winslow. Let's go out to Los Angeles for this update and Chris Rose.
All right, Ron, a lot of people in New Orleans were wondering, why did we trade Dante Stallworth right before the season? Keep asking. Donovan McNabb hits Stallworth from 42 yards out to even things up down in Houston at 7 apiece. Back to Ron and Terry in Cleveland.
The answer to that, Chris, is because he didn't show enough in training camp, and that's what you got to do when you've got a new head coach. Gain of 6 by Winslow, and this is Drones. Drones for a couple.
Right now, the biggest surprise to me in this game, Ron, is the fact that Cleveland's offensive line cannot handle the Saints' defensive line. They've just been unable to rush the ball at all. And, you know, when you have a new center in there, Fraley, even though he's an experienced veteran, he hasn't been here long enough, working with Andruzzi and Coleman, those kind of guys, it takes some time. That offensive line has got to get in sync so the running game can get going.
3rd down and 3. Remember, for a lot of these players, especially the young players, first time on the field altogether in over a year. Intercepted. Scott Fujita. Fujita looking for the house. And he's brought down at the 32-yard line. Another turnover. And another bad play for the Cleveland Browns.
Scott Fujita comes over in a trade from Dallas, and it's a really good trade, obviously, for the Saints. Here he is. He just drops back into his zone, and really, Charlie Frye just tried to put that ball in where he shouldn't have. It was just too tight of a space to get that ball in there, and Fujita just pulled it right out of the air. It's really an athletic move by the linebacker.
That's a great catch. I mean, not to discount linebackers or anything, but my goodness, to snatch that ball coming full smoke like that is pretty impressive.
Well, and you heard coming into the game that the linebackers were a real concern of the Saints. Obviously, on that play, it wasn't the case.
They'll hand it off inside to McAllister. And Scott Fujita, originally a 5th-round pick by the Kansas City Chiefs back in 2002, spent 4 years there, then went to Dallas. With Dallas last year, and along with Fujita and Scott Shanley, the Dallas Cowboys have been good to the Saints so far.
Well, there's a connection there, right? You might think that Sean Payton and Bill Parcells' relationship has something to do with that.
2nd down and 5. Going inside to the quick slant. Intended for Joe Horn. It's incomplete. Tried to hit the skinny post. Couldn't make it work. Lee Bodden on the play.
The Saints have done a good job so far in the game, I think, of protecting Drew Brees. The ball is getting out quick. He's dropping short, 3-step drops, some 5-step drops, but he's getting rid of the ball, and the Saints offensive line is getting him protected. I think that's one of the keys to their season. Keep this guy protected, let him stay healthy, let him gain confidence back in that shoulder that he hurt at the end of last season.
3rd down and 5. Saints will go with a triple formation to the right. They send Joseph in motion. Brees can't get it lined up in time, and he'll call timeout. 6-0 Saints. A 3rd down and 5 coming up for the Saints. They were 33% last year. That was 3rd last in the league. But today, 3 for 6. And as you've alluded to earlier, Coach, they've got a very savvy and smart trigger man in Drew Brees. He doesn't make many mistakes. He's thrown one today. You don't see that too often. They're going to go empty backfield, put him in the gun. The ball better come out relatively quick. Only a 3-man rush by Cleveland. Pressure, throw, caught. Colston, 1st down, Saints. That's what I call pocket presence.
Well, you'll see Marcus Colston. He's in the slot here. He'll go down and just run a little hook pass. And, you know, Drew Brees told us before the game that this guy was going to let the NFL know who he was. He's just a rookie from Hofstra. You know, you move from Hofstra to the NFL. You think that might be a shock to your system?
It wasn't for Wayne Corbett.
It isn't for Colston either.
To the tune of 3 catches for 37 yards. End around, Bush. This is going to be trouble. And Bush rips it off for about 9, just like that. He's got a different level of speed. Coach, you alluded to it earlier in the form of another gear.
Yeah, you know, a lot of players can get to another gear. They have a 2nd gear. This guy might have a 3rd gear. And not many guys in this league have a 3rd gear. He can go to 2nd, and then he goes to 3rd. and he just has a way of carrying himself and accelerating that very few football players do.
Averaged 8.7 yards a rush last year at Southern Cal. That's McAllister. And we hear coaches talk more and more about having to have two backs in your backfield. You need to have a guy that you can pound for 20, 25 a game, but then you need that change of pace guy.
Well, these two backs are so different too. You know, McAllister's bigger, stronger, and all of a sudden then you bring in Bush, who's a lot quicker and has those magical feet. I think they really complement each other.
And this could be big trouble for the Saints. Joseph, the second backup fullback, is injured. They're down to no fullbacks. That's Keith Joseph on the left, the first-year man out of Texas A&M. He's walking off the field injured, and Mike Carney has already pulled a calf muscle. So we'll see what they do for that. Brees throws, and it's caught inside the 5-yard line on that first down play. That's Joe Horn. And, Coach, that's what we have you here. What do you do, Coach, when you lose your fullbacks?
Well, you run one back or no back. Those are your two choices, right? But the problem you really have is in short yardage. It isn't in regular downs. It's in short yardage where you either have to use a tight end or you put an offensive guard in there. Let them play fullback for a while.
And here we go, second and goal. They're going to go with Reggie Bush alone in the backfield. They'll hand it to Bush. Bush pounds straight ahead. Maybe he got one. But, Coach, that's a follow-up on what you've talked about. Now you've got no lead fullback, per se, in your offense. You've eliminated one phase of your game.
Well, it's much harder, too. You see Reggie Bush here without a lead blocker. You're not going to get that fullback isolating on the linebacker like you like down here. But you have plays that you can run out of one back where you can pull linemen and let them lead for you, and that's exactly what the Saints did on that particular play.
McAllister checks in. Bush checks out.
McAllister, a bigger, stronger runner.
Third and goal. McAllister. That won't get it. The big man, Ted Washington, brought in as a free agent from Oakland. We talked about the 985 career tackles. Make that about 986.
Well, you can watch Ted Washington here on the nose. He makes a really nice play, comes across the offensive blocker's face. Ted Washington was brought in here to stop the inside running game. He takes great pride in making sure people cannot run the ball inside of him. He makes the linebackers of the Cleveland Browns better because of his presence.
16th year in the league, and a guy who actually went over to NFL Europe as a part of the coach internship program. Did a little coaching. And that's Carney, and Carney has been busy thus far. That's from 21 yards, and he's got all the points for the New Orleans Saints. 9-0 Saints. Big Ted Washington. He's listed at 365. You can add about 15 to 20 or 30 to that if you want. Whatever the case is, he's made a big impact already in this 3-4 defense, as that nose tackle is the most important guy in the defense.
Well, I think he really solidifies the inside running game on that last play. He made a great play, as we saw, and I think he helps those linebackers so much. When you have a mammoth man in the middle of your defense like this guy is, you can run as linebackers and you can be more active.
Originally drafted in the first round by the 49ers back in '91. Joshua Cribbs back deep. Nearly broke it the last time out. Carney kicks it away, makes him work for it a little bit. In fact, he won't even get a shot at it. Let's go back to that play by Ted Washington.
Well, watch big Ted Washington on the nose right here. This guard's going to try to block down on him. He's going to come right across his face and make this play. And this is one of the things, when you run inside against Ted Washington, you can't really run the ball. You got to mush it. You just mush it up in there. He's so mammoth that he just takes away the inside running game.
Just all a part of the key acquisitions, veteran acquisitions that the Browns made in the offseason. You see Willie McGinnis, Jaravicius, along with Zastava. Drones and drones with about 9 yards in the first carry of the series. Let's go to Chris Rose out in Los Angeles for this update. Chris.
All right, Ron, another AFC North, NFC South battle. This one down in Tampa. Ravens up 7-zip. make it 14-0 after Chris Sims is picked off by Chris McAllister. Fourth time his pick six has ended up in the end zone in McAllister's career. Ravens up 14-0. Back to Ron and Terry in Cleveland.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Second down and 1, waist down as they call it. And they can't make it work. Intended for Joshua Cribbs. The first 3 possessions for the Browns, dismal. In fact, the Saints, out of 27 of their 31 plays, those 27 plays were in Cleveland Brown territory.
Well, the penalties are what disrupted the Browns' offense. You know, when you get out of rhythm, you get those penalties. The Browns made a couple big plays, but they were called back because of those penalties. And as a result, they just haven't been able to get their rhythm. That last first down play, a 9-yard gain, was the best play they've had.
Just got word from the Saints bench. Keith Joseph, the backup fullback, is out for the day. This is Vickers, 6th-round pick out of Colorado. And I tell you what, the Saints came to play, and Fajita talking a little trash. You bumped into him at an In-N-Out Burger out there in L.A., didn't you?
Yeah, he's from Southern California, and I knew Scott when he played at Cal, and he got off this block. He made a great play laterally. I think one of the things that's very surprising to me is I heard a lot about the linebackers at the Saints not being up to snuff. Fajita was a backup player last year, Seminole backup player, but they're awfully good today.
Bush handles this one at the 25, dances, and can't get loose. I'm not so sure that Reggie still isn't a little nicked up. He went off the field a couple series ago. Don't forget, coming up, it's game 2 of our doubleheader. The Cowboys head to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Kurt, Howie, Terry, Jimmy, and the Fox pregame crew are all live in Jacksonville. Saw Joe Buck down there with the Janet Jackson mouthpiece there. Looked kind of good, man. I like that. I think that's going to grow on Joe.
Those guys are going to go on the road every week.
Every week. Get your frequent flyer cards ready, fellas. They'll hand it off to McAllister, and McAllister will get out close to the 30-yard line.
Ron, that's a good example there. There's no lead back in the game because, as you mentioned, the fullbacks are all down. But Deuce McAllister makes a real positive gain on 1st and 10. You can run the ball easily without a lead blocker, but it's in the short yardage goal line areas that it gets more difficult.
McAllister, 9 carries for 36 yards. Bush flanked out wide. You can always recognize him by those gold Adidas shoes he's got on. And that looked like only Conwell got a little nervous. Conwell missed the last 8 games of the season. There's Reggie Bush's gold shoes.
Still second down.
Hey, you win a Heisman, the least you could get are some gold shoes, huh?
You win a Heisman, I think you can get whatever you want.
Hey, but has he been great in the community already down in New Orleans, or what? He's been involved in the spearheading of several funds to the homeless down there in New Orleans. Put some money into high schools. It's spent about $86,000 to rebuild the high school stadium, and there he goes again. He's going to be about 3 yards short of the first down, and something is wrong. You saw him wince over there. He got 6.
Reggie Bush came up a little bit dinged a few minutes ago. He went to the sidelines, and here he carries the ball. The vision that he has, there's always a crease in the defense for good tailbacks. They're always able to find a little bit of crease, and he certainly sees it there. He cuts that ball back. That's what good backs do. They make offensive linemen better because of that skill.
8 carries for 46 yards for Bush. 3rd down and 3, the flip out. And how do they mark it? The way they marked it, that's going to be a first. When you talk about the athletic ability, you saw that little lunge right at the last minute to get the marker and get the first down. That was good for 4, and they'll roll the chains.
Well, this guy has it. Whatever it is, he has it. I promise you. And you know, it's intuition, it's the ability. Right here, he reaches that ball over the marker.
Saints go to a hurry-up offense. They go to quick toss to Bush. And he tried to cut it in, nothing much. We're talking about that impact he's made already down in New Orleans. You know about the 25 jersey, the number 25 jersey, already the best seller in the NFL merchandising community.
He's made such an impact on the city, organization. He's going to make an impact on the NFL. This guy is special.
Second down and 10. Bush again, looking for the edge. Gets a nice block. Trips, looks as though if he could have kept his feet, he would have had a little more.
You know, I think it's surprising a little bit, Ron. You know, Sean Payton could have come into this game and he could have kept Reggie Bush under wraps a little bit and just kind of let him get his feet wet and kind of grow into the NFL game. But he didn't do that. He decided that he had a playmaker in Bush, McAllister. He wanted to get those guys involved in the game, and he's done a wonderful job so far of doing that. These guys have got their touches so far, so they get into the rhythm and flow of the game.
Third down and 5. McAllister along back. That's Henderson in motion. Blitz inside A gap. They pick it up. Plenty of time for Brees. He'll throw the comeback, and it's knocked away. Nice play there by Ralph Brown, the former New York Giant. 7th-year man out of Nebraska, and that'll lead to the punting unit.
Well, the Browns bring the pressure here, but Drew Brees is able to just move away from it. It's a great job by the backside tight end of protection. The ball is just a little bit late by Brees, and he's going to be a little late. But remember, he's had an injury. He's not on his game totally.
The rookie Steve Weatherford punts it away. This will be Northcutt. He's returned a couple, and there he goes. Dennis Northcutt. One man away from a possible touchdown. Terrence Cooper finally brought him down, but he got 31 yards.
Steve Weatherford really drove this ball. He didn't hang it high enough for his coverage team, and as a result, Northcutt had time to field it, and then all of a sudden, he had some moves of his own that he showed. Right here, you can see him make players miss. Punt returners are going to do that. They're going to move their feet in the pocket and move around and get into the open spaces.
He is the Browns' all-time leading returner. Had 2 punt returns called back last year. They'll go inside the drones. And the Kellen Winslow story has been told over and over. This is actually his 3rd NFL regular season game. First-round pick back in 2004 out of the U, as we like to say, the University of Miami, 6th overall. Had 5 catches in his game in his rookie year before he was hurt on an onside kick of all things. Broke his ankle, came back last year ready to go, then injured again in an extracurricular motorcycle accident. And that's Northcutt. As we say, Winslow, highly touted coming out of Miami, goes down to Dallas. And in the second to last play of the game, an onside kick, breaks his ankle. Then training in the offseason, decides to try to do break stands in the parking lot. That didn't go too well. Tore the ACL in his knee. So he's finally recovered, finally ready to play. He says he's not 100%, but good enough to play football. No first downs for the Browns today. This could be the first, and there it is. Jerome Harrison, the rookie out of Washington State, a guy that you like a lot, Coach, finally moves the chains for the Browns.
Well, the Browns need to get this offense excited. Jerome Harrison is a change of pace back for them. They just pitch him the ball, and he sweeps the right end. Jerome Harrison was the #2 rusher in the NCAA last year. This guy gained over 1,900 yards. He can be a factor for Cleveland's offense as he gets comfortable.
Average 6.2 yards a carry in the preseason. That's the 2-minute warning. 9-0 Saints.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored.
You see the timeouts, 1-1 for both sides. 1st and 10 for Charlie Frye. Jerome Harrison in the backfield, play action to him, looking down the seam, it's not there. Now he's got to make something happen. And Frye scrambles out to about the 26-yard line. Nice mobility, and that's one of the things that he's known for.
Well, there's no question Charlie Frye is as good outside the pocket as he is inside the pocket. The Saints wanted to make sure that they kept him in the pocket all day long. That was a breakdown on their defense. They don't want Frye being able to scramble around and find receivers down that field.
2nd down and 1. Saints showing a cover 2 look. They change it up and go to man. That's Drones, and Drones got a couple before he got blasted. Looked like Will Smith came over, but it doesn't matter. He got the first.
Well, Cleveland picks up the first down here, but I'll tell you what, the Saints defensive line is slanting and moving, and their linebackers are playing really, really well, and they've got secondary guys up in that front to make that tackle, and it's hard to run the ball. And Cleveland's not been able to do it.
They have not been able to do it. Pass 1st and 10. Looking inside. Looked at Winslow. A flag goes down, and down goes Frye. Hollis Thomas. But let's check the marker in the secondary. That's usually some form of pass interference. I think it's going to go against the Saints.
34.
Jerome Boger trying to get it
Illegal
together.
contact. Defense, number 34. 5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
And that's Mike McKenzie.
Well, Mike McKenzie working against Braylon Edwards here, and sure enough, you can only touch him 5 yards, and he does clearly jam him and hammer him. It's a good call, I think, by the official. Braylon Edwards has got to avoid that contact a little more than he did on that part. And McKenzie's a veteran. He's going to hammer those wide receivers every chance he gets.
So the penalty makes it 1st and 10. Pressure on the outside. They pick it up. The throw inside to Winslow. Winslow still going. And he's stacked up at about the 15-yard line. Nice call there, the center screen with the tight end, a pickup of 4.
Well, it's nice for Winslow to get involved here. He has blitz pickup, then all of a sudden he runs a little tight end delay over the middle, but you saw his athleticism there. The ball was thrown behind him. He was able to turn, get it with his hands, tuck it away for a positive gain.
First trip in the red zone today for Cleveland, 2nd and 6. A mix-up, the ball is loose. And the Saints say they have it. No sign yet. Let's wait and see. Yes. Huge turnover for the Cleveland Browns.
You talk about a frustrating day for Cleveland's offense. They try to run a little draw here between Harrison and Frye, and the ball just never gets exchanged. One of the reasons is because the Saints defense penetrated so deep on that play. Penetration always disrupts handoffs.
Scott Fajita was the guy that got the hand on the ball. He was there before the handoff was there.
Yeah, he came on a blitz, and anytime you get that kind of penetration, the quarterback's just got to secure that ball.
And the Saints are going to do the smart thing. Call it a first half, 9-0. And I got to tell you, I'm impressed with that man there. And I think a lot of people expected it. He's been used very smartly, like you've alluded to, by Coach Payton. And I'm really impressed by the defense of the New Orleans Saints, particularly a guy like Scott Fajita. He's been all over the field.
No question about it. The defense has dominated the first half for the Saints. The Browns have got to move the ball better than the second half.
Stay tuned for the Visa halftime report coming up.
They've made, and you got to give the Saints credit because they played hard on defense and they've made some of those things happen.
You can see the discrepancy of yards there. The Saints all over it, and the Browns took them until the second quarter to get into the red zone. There's a look at our fantasy numbers. For the latest in fantasy stats, log on to foxsports.com. So we start the second half. The Browns will kick it away. And that's a deep kick. And that'll be a touchback. Our third member of our crew, Tony Rizzo, had a chance to catch up with Romeo Crennel.
With head coach Romeo Crennel and the Browns. Coach, what did you tell your team at halftime?
Well, I told them it's only a 9-point game. If we score 2 touchdowns and don't let them score any more, then we're going to win the game. And so that's what we're going to try to do.
What was the problem offensively? Was it what they were doing on defense, or you guys shoot yourself?
Well, early on, there was the penalties. We hit big plays and got penalties, got them called back. And then after that, they played better than we did.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Good luck. All right, back up to you guys in the booth.
Reggie Bush has more yards running and catching than the entire Cleveland Browns offense. And there's an incompletion intended for Joe Horn. Bush has 68. Cleveland has 58 total. Ouch. And And that was the first time that the Heisman Trophy winner touched the ball today on the punt. He got the end around, picked up 9 on that one. He got some tough yards inside, tried to get around the corner a couple times. And as we say, things aren't helped by the fact that the Saints are without their 2 fullbacks. They're basically playing a game right now without a fullback. Blitz coming from the secondary way back. The throw inside, intended for Horn, nearly intercepted by Brian Russell. Knocked away by Lee Bodden.
Well, you haven't heard a lot about Joe Horn today, really, because of Reggie Bush and McAllister. He's in the slot here. He's going to run a little in route. He just tries to get open. The ball's a little bit high. It's a really pretty good tight coverage by the Browns on that particular play. Joe Horn just hasn't been able to really get into the flow of the game.
He really hasn't.
Like these other running backs have been able to do. You know, they've really featured Bush and McAllister. Horn has suffered a little bit as a result.
3rd and 10, the inside handoff there to Bush, and Bush is going to be well short of the first down. And that'll bring on the punting unit for the Saints.
Saints try to run a little shovel pass to Bush. Again, they're trying to do everything they can to get this guy involved in the game. They get him out as a receiver. They go ahead, throw the ball to him. They let him run. They shovel it to him. Get him involved in the game. Let your playmakers make plays.
Northcutt almost broke one the last time he returned here. Let's keep an eye on him. This time they punt away a little bit. Northcutt has to call for the fair catch, and he secures the catch at about the 32-yard line. 43 yards on the punt. Well, the bad news for the Browns is that they've only got 3 first downs on the day so far, but the good news is that they've been able to hold the Saints to field goals. They're only down 9. Still very much in this game if they can just get it going. They fake the toss, and the rollout fly will keep this one. And he'll pick up some yards. Gets a nice block by Winslow. And he has a nice game. Let's go down to Tony Rizzo.
Guys, thanks. We heard from Romeo Cornell. Sean Payton of the Saints said he is pleased with the way his team has played defensively, specifically the pressure they've been able to put on Charlie Frye and stopping the run. But he said offensively, we've got to work the ball downfield a little bit more. Look for that in the second half.
All right, Tony, thank you. Pick up a 14 by Frye. Drones in the backfield along with Terrell Smith. Same play, other side. Winslow has it. Winslow takes one on, and he's into Saint territory. Finally brought down by Roman Harper.
Ronnie, this is a good start for the second half for the Browns. They get off to a big play with Charlie Frye's legs, getting him outside on that scramble play. They come back here on another first down, bootleg out, get the ball to Winslow. They need to loosen up on first down and get that Saints defense spread out a little bit, create some air for their running game. Otherwise, Charlie Frye is going to have to win this on his own. 29 yards passing is tough to do.
3 yards and a pickup by Winslow. They'll hand it off in the misdirection. And Drones battles close to the marker. He's going to be about a yard short.
You want to get the ball to Reuben Drones because he's so powerful. The right guard's going to pull around here. Cozy Coleman, he does a nice job getting up on the linebacker, Fujita, and Drones finally gets a little bit of air in that defense to make a good run.
Brought down by Mark Semino. 3rd down and call it 2. Jerome Harris in the game. Saints showing pressure with Fujita on the outside. He's inside, picked up nice, and caught. First down, Browns. Nice job, Frye to Braylon Edwards. A pickup of 5.
See, this is what the Browns need to do. They need to get their young playmakers involved. Braylon Edwards is explosive. He's powerful. He's a big man. Went up there, caught that ball, made a nice catch. Charlie Frye hangs in the pocket, gets bumped a little bit, but the more Charlie Frye can hit some passes and get confident, the better he'll play.
They'll fake the end around and hand it off to Drones inside. And going back to Edwards, remember, he was a 3rd pick overall, another big impact guy coming out of Michigan. Last year he played in 10 games, then he hurt his knee versus Jacksonville in December. He was on the IR list, the injured reserve list, for the rest of the year with a torn right ACL ligament in his knee.
Well, he's come back so fast, too.
He's come back fast, and I was talking to Terry Robisky, the wide receivers coach for the Browns, he said, I am so excited to get this kid on the field because he's confident and he's explosive. We believe he can be big things for us. Play action again, in trouble, throw wide open, but he throws behind Winslow. He had Winslow on the crosser, but couldn't make it work.
Well, Charlie Frye does a good job. The Saints bring pressure here and blitz from the right side of the screen, but Charlie Frye moves away from it. He just can't quite get his shoulders turned to get that ball completed to Winslow. But the nice thing about it, Frye avoided the sack. Winslow, a nice move out there in the open field. The ball's just behind it.
You can see third down conversions today have been a little ugly for Cleveland. 3rd and 8. See what the Saints bring. So far, they're only going to bring 4. They're sneaking guys up. It stays 4. Pressure by Grant. He steps up, and he's going to go for his, and he gets it. Charlie Frye with the first down. A pickup of 10.
This is why the Cleveland Browns like Charlie Frye. You can watch the left defensive end. He loops around Charles Grant, but the reality of it is Frye right there has the presence in the pocket to move around, get some space, and he can improvise. One of his main strengths is his ability to make something happen just on the run, and that's what makes him a pretty good player for the Browns.
And a pretty good rusher. He is the Browns' leading rusher today. 4 rushes for 34 yards. He's going to have to run again, and there he goes. This time he's out of bounds inside the 20-yard line, pushed out by Josh Bullocks, but again very close to a first down. And the Browns getting close. They were close before, but gave it up on a fumble.
Well, Charlie Frye starting to show what the Browns people have been talking about since we got here, about his mobility, his ability to improvise. The Saints bring a blitz that time. Bullocks comes, but Frye's able to flush away from it and make a positive gain. They need to utilize his legs as well as his arm.
Went 2 and 3 last year in those 5 games that he started. They hand this one off with Terrell Smith. Let's go to Los Angeles and check up on Chris Rhodes. Chris.
All right, Ron, in the pregame show, you heard Howie Long say, let Mike Vick be Mike Vick. Well, this is Mike Vick being Michael Vick, and this is Michael Jenkins being Michael Jenkins, scoring from 34 yards out. Falcons lead the Panthers 13-3. They are in the 3rd quarter. Back to Ron and Terry in Cleveland.
That's right. You better let Mike Vick be Mike Vick, or there might be some changes in Atlanta if he's not. 3rd down and 1. Got Winslow. There he is. Winslow looking house. Touchdown, Browns. And that's Janelle Winslow, his wife in the middle there with the gold top. Very happy as her husband gets his first NFL touchdown.
Browns fans have waited a long time for this, Ron. It's been 3 years. Nobody's happier than Kellen, his wife, his family, his friends, everybody.
And a great story. You asked him what got you through those 2 years of injury. He said 2 things: video games, and above all, my wife Janelle, who I've known since I was 13 years old. Dawson puts it through, and the Browns climb back in this thing with the help of a young, energetic Kellen Winslow.
Bell Big Bell Value Menu. Think outside the bun.
The man of the minute, Kellen Winslow, along with Charlie Frye, because without the legs of Charlie Frye on that drive, I don't think that score would have been possible. You see the drive, and the Browns get a much-needed shot in the arm. And there's a shot almost to Akron. That ball is out of here, and they'll take the touchback.
You know, Ron, when you have a good tight end, you want to make sure he just runs a little seam route, and this is exactly what they do. The Browns get Kellen Winslow in the little seam. He finds an opening. There's space and air. They exchange the ball, and then watch the athleticism. This is what people are excited about. Kellen Winslow can run, and he can get that ball in the end zone when he needs to.
The Browns first half 58 yards. That last drive alone 67 yards. That's what you call turning it around. 1st and 10 for Drew Brees and the Saints. Conwell in the short motion, the pitch to Deuce looking for the edge. And Deuce rambles inside for at least 5. And Deuce McAllister, you may have alluded to this earlier, Coach. He's definitely trimmed down a little bit. He's a lot leaner, lost about 10 pounds. And you could see it when he came in the meeting room last night.
Yeah, no question about it. I think he was happy that he was lighter, and he felt faster, and he felt like he was in better shape. And certainly when number 25 arrived on the scene, that probably motivated him a little bit.
You think? Yeah, he definitely had that look in his eye, like, I got to kick it up a gear. But McAllister's never had a problem kicking it up a gear. A gain of 7 on the play before. Fumble. No down by contact call. And it's recovered. Looks like Sean Jones, the safety. But let's see what they finally call it.
Watch Big Ted Washington on the nose. We've mentioned him before. Look at him stand up to center. He gets that ball stripped with his hand.
May have been Brian Russell to come in late and get it. Washington is definitely a force, but right there, Brian Russell, who was not even supposed to play today. And the ball looks like it's out to me before the knee hits. Now we have a challenge. The red hanky is on the ground from the Saints. That means we'll go into challenge mode. The new rules say the challenge will be 1 minute.
Challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble.
There may not be an issue here because I don't believe it was called, but down by contact is now a call that is reviewable anyway. But depending on their angles, that looks like clearly indisputable visual evidence that it's a fumble.
I don't think his knee hits before that ball comes out. It's hard to see right here, but I think that ball's out right now.
Funny, I had a talk in the offseason with Red Cashin. Remember Red Cashin, the NFL referee for many years? He said, you know, the problem is you go under the hoodie and you look at that little monitor. If you clearly can't see it on a 7-inch monitor, then you don't call it. You go at what was called on the field. And on the field, it was left as a fumble and a recovery by the Browns. Remember, the rules are, if you challenge a call and you're wrong, you will lose a timeout. So Sean Payton has called for the challenge. Jerome Boger.
I think it's a good challenge. It's close enough to throw the flag because the turnover is so big right now in the momentum of this game. The Browns have had.
It's huge, right? You're right. It's a huge momentum play. Look at the right knee. Or, as it's been explained to me, Coach, if the ball is on the way out, meaning that the runner does not have possession anymore, then it is a fumble. From the other angle, it looked like the ball was clearly out before the knee had touched.
I think this is so close that they're going to give the ball to Cleveland. I think it's very difficult to say that that knee is clearly down. I think the ball is out.
After reviewing the play, it is a fumble. The ball came out, crashed it over back, knee hitting the ground. Moore is charged with first team timeout.
Coach, you are right on. They leave it alone. They go with what we saw, and it is a huge momentum changer now for the Cleveland Browns. They already had momentum on the last drive, thanks to Frye and Winslow. Two guys that we talked about in the open that were going to have to be big, that this franchise was counting on this season. And now they'll take over after the turnover at the 39, 38-yard line. They'll go 1st and 10 with Jones and Smith in the backfield. Pressure. This will be a sack. Nowhere to go. Brian Young in on the sack.
I think the Saints defensive line today, when you look at this game, as close as it is, the Saints have certainly got to go out of this game feeling like we're better up front defensively than people thought we were coming in.
Right.
You know, they've been able to apply pressure. They've been able to shut down the running game. Charlie Frye's mobility has hurt them a little bit, but other than that, they've done a very good job controlling Cleveland's offensive line.
2 sacks on the day now for Brian Young. The 3rd sack of the day for the Saints. The bounce out will not work for Reuben Drones. And a guy we've talked about all day long, Scott Fujita, is there, the 5th-year man out of Cal.
Well, the Saints have just got too many players to run against. They've got too many guys up by the line of scrimmage. Scott Fujita makes a great play there. He jams Cozy Coleman and drives him back into the running back, and Drones just has no daylight to run to. There's just nowhere to go. They're going to have to play loose, the Browns. They're going to have to let Charlie Frye loosen up that defense with his arm and his legs.
Good point. Last time he did it, it ended up in a score. 3rd and 15. It's hard to say they're even in field goal range yet. Pressure again. Frye throws, looking for a deep comeback, and it's dropped. Dennis Northcutt had it. It would have been inside the 20, but he couldn't hold on. And Romeo Cornell is saying, get off the field.
Dennis Northcutt runs a real deep out. He's going to go deep, and all of a sudden he sees Frye in trouble, so he breaks off his route. He does the right thing. He comes back to the quarterback. Frye throws a perfect ball. Northcutt has got to make that catch for the Browns.
So they'll try for inside the 10, but this is a very bad punt. And that one doesn't even make it to the 20. Dave Zastudil picks the wrong time to shank one off the side of his foot. 9-7 Saints. Well, so far this offense for the Cleveland Browns has been about Charlie Frye. Threw for over 11,000 yards and 64 touchdown passes at Akron. And they talked about him big. They said he was everything, and now we're beginning to see some of that mobility. And they say this guy is everything, and so far today, he's been a lot. Reggie Bush for 5. And until Charlie Frye got the legs going and got out of the pocket and made things happen, nothing was happening for the Browns offense, coach.
Well, he's a cool customer, and you're right, Ronnie. His mobility has opened up the Browns offense. And here he hits Winslow with the touchdown pass. And once again, on the scramble, he hits Northcutt. He just drops the ball.
2nd and 5 after the Bush run. Flare out again to Bush. He's going to dance on somebody. He dances close to the first down. I think he's got a first down. There was a look at Charlie Frye's numbers. And he had so much confidence when we talked to him in the meeting room the other day. Came in, there was no doubt in his mind that this was his team. He's the leader, and he's ready to win. He's ready to take control.
He was country cool, what I call country cool. You know, there's city cool, there's cool, and then there's country cool.
Now he just needs some country points. If Reggie Bush has the ball, and Reggie Bush starting to make guys look silly. Finally brought down by Brian Russell. But a nice, healthy 6 yards.
Reggie Bush has vision. He has cutting ability. He makes people miss. He has a void right there. You can see he will not take a lot of hits because he's hard to hit. He's always on the move. He's always dancing, dodging. He's like Muhammad Ali as a fighter. You know, it was hard to hit him. It's hard to hit this guy because of his magical feet.
And that's the question that a lot of people ask coming out. You know, looked at his size, 5'11", 203. Could he take the pounding for an NFL running back? Might be an answer to it. Deep comeback to Joe Horn. There it is. Broken up nicely. Lee Bott. Tell you what, Joe Horn missed 3 games last year with a bad hamstring. Kind of threw his year off a little bit. But not quite the same Joe Horn we've seen. That was good coverage on the play. That was not his fault.
And Lee Bodden is the best corner that Cleveland has, and that is tight coverage. But again, that ball's a little bit late. And it's going to take Drew Brees some time to get used to Joe Horn and Marcus Colston. You know, he's new in camp because of his injury, so he hasn't had all of the offseason work that a lot of these players have had.
3rd and 4. Pressure on the outside. An escape throw, and it's caught for a first down. Devery Henderson.
You know, we're talking a lot about Charlie Frye's mobility. Here, Drew Brees shows you his mobility. He's in the pocket. It's good initial protection. He feels the pressure. He moves to his left, delivers the ball to Henderson. That kind of on-the-field presence is what really helps an offense, because when things break down, the quarterback's the guy that's got to save you.
Cameron Wembley and Nick Eason almost had him. Great pocket awareness and presence. The throwback. Looking for Colston. And it's knocked away. Another great defensive play. Gary Baxter, 6-year man out of Baylor. The free agent from Baltimore brought in last year.
Little trickery here with Drew Brees, giving the ball to McAllister, pitching it back, and all of a sudden he tries to throw deep, but Baxter wasn't fooled for a second. He comes, really makes a nice job with his hands. He knocks that ball right out of Colston's hands at the last minute. Really a good play by Baxter.
You saw the size difference there. With Baxter working against Colston. Colston 6'4", 230. Baxter 6'2", both tall, but not tall enough for Colston. Bush looking for a lane. They're running inside, and the Saints have done an excellent job today of holding onto the ball, using the clock. A low-scoring game, but when you don't have the ball, that could be death.
Well, I tell you, the Saints defense has to be applauded. Again, when McAllister has the turnover a few plays back, that was a real opportunity for that defense to cave in a little bit, and for Cleveland really to get momentum in this football game. But that defense went in and shut them down, and now the Saints offense is in the position it is because of that.
3rd and 4, empty backfield. The Browns are playing man-to-man. Somebody's got to win. The throw outside to Reggie Bush, and Bush wins and gets the first down. He's down to about the 20-yard line. Brian Russell finally brings him down. 14 yards on the pickup.
Well, Sean Payton, the head coach, said he was going to put Reggie Bush in a lot of positions. Here he's at the flanker back. He runs down the field, just runs a little hook. Give Drew Brees the credit. He stood there in the face of the blitz and delivered that ball. Cleveland had an unblocked rusher coming right in his face, but look at the cushion they're giving Reggie Bush. and you know, you can't give him that kind of cushion.
Well, what's funny about that, that's a corner on a running back, and generally, you know, we would laugh when running backs would walk out there because we knew they couldn't get off of one thing, and that's bump and run. But when Reggie Bush goes out there, that's a little different.
You don't want to bump and run him.
Hurry up offense. I don't even think the Browns were lined up. In fact, I know they weren't. Tried to run with McAllister. Willie McGinnis is there for the tackle.
You know, you mentioned the fullbacks for the Saints being down, and all of a sudden they're still moving the ball without a fullback.
Without a fullback. Maybe they've stumbled on the offense that they'll be the rest of the year. That's the Nick Eason injury. Reggie Bush. Rush yards, receiving yards, return yards. Doing exactly what he did at Southern California.
Can I change my fantasy pick?
No.
Is it too late?
3rd down and 2. Brees throws a comeback to Colston, and Colston scores. Touchdown, Saints. And that's a veteran call to work it out and throw it to a rookie who's lighting it on fire, and the Saints are lighting the Browns on fire.
Well, Drew Brees has pressure again in his face. There's an unblocked linebacker, but he just gets rid of the ball so quickly. Colston runs down the field, turns around, and the ball's delivered. Touchdown, Saints. You can watch Colston. He's a big, big physical receiver. He pushes to the outside, the ball's thrown inside, and then that big body stretches across the goal line.
Marcus Colston and Drew Brees, their first touchdowns as Saints.
Drew Brees told us that Marcus Colston was going to really let the NFL know who he was. Drew Brees moving to the Saints from the Chargers. He's got to be excited to have this kind of a receiver outside, along with Joe Horn, who's been very quiet today. That gives him some real weapons.
They say in the NFL, the thing that can hurt you the most is what you don't know. And it's always that one guy that you don't know too much about, you haven't seen too much film on. He might be a 7th-round pick from a small school back east, like Marcus Colston. But after today, everyone's going to know who he is. 11 plays on the scoring drive, 73 yards. And Marcus Colston has made a name for himself with the New Orleans Saints.
The Saints as a team, Ronnie, going back again to the fumble by McAllister. The defense goes in, rallies, holds, gives the ball back to the offense. The offense puts together a long drive. When teams are operating in concert like that, they're tough to beat. The Saints are on all cylinders today. They have played impressively from the very beginning of this game.
That's Nick Eason, defensive lineman for the Browns, being helped off.
That's a bad injury, too, because Nick Eason plays on their nickel team inside as a starting rusher.
That's going to hurt their pressure, especially in 3rd downs. So John Carney to kick it away. Have Joshua Cribbs back deep. 2 minutes left to play here in the 3rd quarter. This is going to be a real short kick. Cribbs at the 10 on the run, drops the ball, picks it up, avoids one. He gets hammered at around the 26-yard line. This Tuesday, House comes across the strangest case he has ever encountered. Watch the Emmy Award-winning smash hit House at its new time, Tuesday, 8, 7 Central, right here on Fox. Your discretion is advised. Coach, I don't know if you had a chance to catch that show. That is an outstanding show. Different twist every week.
I haven't. My favorite's Prison Break.
Prison.
That's my favorite one.
They've got different twists every week too, all year long. 1st and 10. Charlie Frye and the Browns. We're going to have to get it going. Frye in trouble. Well, Frye doing his best Fran Tarkington here. Comes up throwing, complete. Dennis Northcutt. Northcutt dropped an easy one that would have been a 1st down deep in the red zone. The series earlier, 2 series earlier. Let's drop this one, comes up with 12 yards.
Nothing drives a defensive crazy like a mobile quarterback. Fujita on the blitz, he can't make the play. Frye keeps moving around, and it frustrates a rush by a defense. You want that quarterback to be stationary. Charlie Frye is anything but stationary.
They'll hand it off to Drones. Drones has some room. He gets a block on the outside, and he's off. They call a flag, and they're going to call a hold, most likely on Dennis Northcutt. That would have been 19 yards.
Holding, offense, number 86. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 1st down.
Cleveland has self-destructed all day long, Ronnie, with penalties. Every big play has been called back by some kind of a penalty. You can watch Dennis Northcutt. He's trying to do a good job here. He's involved, but he clearly grabs him, takes him down with his hands. They're going to call that every time that the hands get away from the body like that.
113 yards of offense called back today for the Cleveland Browns. And it has to have Romeo Crennel fuming inside. Time winding down here in the 1st quarter. In the 3rd quarter, 1st and 15. The dump off. This will be to the big fullback, Terrell Smith, and that'll be a train wreck. Let's go to Los Angeles and check in with Chris Rose.
All right, Ron, scary sight in Kansas City. Trent Green looking for the 1st down, and he gets leveled by Robert Gathers. No penalty called. Green carted off. The good news is he does have feeling in his hands, but he doesn't remember anything. He's been replaced by Damon Heward. Back to Ron and Terry in Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't think he'll remember much for a long time on that hit, but it is good to see that he's moving. And this will be the last play of the 3rd quarter. The throw inside is caught, Braylon Edwards, and that's a great way for the Browns to end the quarter. It's a 1st down. That's the end of the 3rd. New Orleans 16, Cleveland 7. Fox NFL Sunday. The 4th and final quarter here in Cleveland. Sean Payton on the left, Romeo Crennel on the right. And it has been all Sean Payton and his new offense and new team. They are in control of this thing and have been from the start.
No question about it. The Saints have been impressive. Defensively, they've been very, very good. And Reggie Bush has been better than Bill.
Absolutely. 1st and 10 for the Browns. A nice throw and a catch. Frye to Edwards, going deep. Looking for Edwards again, and it's incomplete. And it's interesting talking to a lot of the Browns players, you know, before the game. They said, listen, we understand what Reggie Bush is, what he did in college and all that stuff, but he hasn't done it at this level. I think everybody had that let's wait and see attitude. Well, we've seen.
He's done it at this level now. There's no question about it. Reggie Bush is a phenomenal athlete. He's got such great vision, magical type feet. And I think the Saints have done a great job with him today. They got him involved from the very first of the game so he could get comfortable at the NFL level.
Absolutely. 2nd down and 10. Looking for the slants and flats, as they call them. If they don't get the flat, they'll get the slant. And that's Winslow. And Winslow is saying, hey, I got face mask. They don't give him the face mask, but they do give him. It's going to be close to the 1st down.
Winslow runs an inside slant here. Charlie Frye does a very good job just giving him the ball. He's a big receiver. He's a tight end, but he's out there wide, right? He's gifted. You can do that with certain kinds of tight ends. Winslow has all kinds of potential. He just needs to get used to playing again. He's been gone for a couple of years.
He said injured that knee down in Dallas. The 2nd game of his NFL career. He's been out since, and Charlie Frye on this 3rd down and inches says, let me think this one over. 16-7, Saints.
All right, let's do this.
93, 94, 95.
Come on, man. Just
96.
Live NFL. Drink Diet Pepsi. He popped another one.
Ford Super Duty, the most capable pickup in America. Bold moves. They happen every day.
Hey guys, remember me? Pella double hung windows.
Hey!
Great work.
Hey, thanks.
Hey! Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
Thanks, window guy.
Oh, thank you.
At Lowe's, our professional installers do the kind of job you'll appreciate long after they leave your home.
My wife loves the storm doors.
Lowe's, let's build something together.
Come to Lowe's and get 10% off all installed carpet plus free carpet pad.
Fox NFL Sunday, sponsored by Ford. Bold moves, they happen every day. By Lowe's, for all your home improvement needs, Lowe's. Let's build something together. By Samsung, the official HD TV of the NFL. And by Diet Pepsi. Live NFL, drink Diet Pepsi.
3rd and inches coming up now for the Browns offense. Winslow in motion. They'll pass it. He's looking at Winslow. Dumps it down instead to Hayden, the tight end, and Hayden will have the 1st down easily. A pickup of 7, and there's a look at the 3rd quarter numbers.
Certainly the Browns have done much better in the 3rd quarter than they did in the 1st half, and they've got to be pleased, and primarily really because of Charlie Frye and his ability to improvise and that sort of thing. The line for the Browns still have not been able to control the defensive line for the Saints.
Nope. The time of possession to me is huge there for the Saints. They've been able to keep the ball and keep a young offense on the sideline. Let's pass again in the flat. Winslow bolos one man and turns it up. He put the stiff arm on Roman Harper, the rookie out of Alabama, and then turned it up and almost got a 1st down.
Well, I think Kellen Winslow is a star in the making. This guy, as he keeps playing and gets his confidence, I don't even think he's 100%. I think his legs are going to come back eventually. But I think this guy is going to get better and better every game that he plays.
We saw him in practice. He's actually got a little hitch in his giddy up there. Has that knee still heavily wrapped, but doesn't seem to affect him on the field here. That's drones, and drones should have converted for the first. Let's see where they mark it. I don't know. I don't think so. Let's see. Yes, he did. 7 carries or 7 catches on the day for 51 yards for Winslow.
You know, Ron, the Browns have a lot of personnel themselves. They're excited about Dennis Northcutt. They got Braylon Edwards. They've got Winslow. They got Juravicius. But they haven't all played together, and they don't have their thinking. The mistake certainly has disrupted their rhythm. But these guys have some weapons on this team. They have the ability to be a good offensive team.
Hayden comes up with the catch. No. They rule it incomplete.
Watch Hollis Thomas over the center right here. He's the guy that's going to be able to put pressure and get penetration and flush Frye. Once again, Frye's on the move. He never gets set. It's very difficult on him when he can't get his feet set and get his confidence in that pocket. He's been flushed all day long.
Another big man inside making a difference today for the Saints. We saw it on the other side of the ball with Ted Washington. That's Hollis Thomas, the 11-year man out of Northern Illinois. 32 years old, still getting it done through the gap. 2nd and 10, throw inside, caught. That's Northcutt, and Northcutt has the first down. The Saints jumped out to the early lead here today, and it was 3 field goals in a row by John Carney. He hit from 43 yards, he hit from 25 yards, he hit from 21 yards, and it wasn't until the 3rd quarter that the Cleveland Browns got into the act. A nice drive, and Charlie Frye did a lot on the ground with his legs, and Winslow was able to score to make it 9-7. And Colston came back with a score here, and we're 16-7, and that's a throw into the end zone. It's incomplete. And Winslow is talking about interference. He's been yakking at the refs this whole quarter.
Cleveland's trying to move the launch point for Frye as much as they can. They're running a little boot action. They want to get him away from that powerful rush that the Saints have put on him. And he is really good outside the pocket. And he's good on the move. That's his strength, and they're playing into it. This is the best drive Cleveland has had all day long.
Gary Gibbs, the Saints defensive coordinator, has done a really nice job of containing this Cleveland Brown offense. Going for the fade to Winslow, and that's got to be interference. Oh, he almost caught it. That was nearly a spectacular catch, and Winslow is saying, did I hold it long enough?
Roman Harper on the coverage against Winslow. That's a safety against him, and you can see Harper's all over him. Winslow, I don't think, has control of the ball.
No.
Illegal contact occurred in the end zone, so the ball replaced at the 1-yard line. First down.
And besides, he's got to catch it past the ground in order for it to be a catch. But just the fact that he could palm that thing like that, boy, it brings back shades of his father, Kellen Winslow Sr., that we've seen do that so many years up and down the field for the San Diego Chargers.
And what a great effort by Winslow to go up on that ball with one hand. And Charlie Frye, he knew who to throw it to. He laid that ball up there. He put it to the best athlete he could, other than Braylon Edwards probably. One of those 2 guys are going to get it down here.
And Coach, here's your guy in the backfield, Vickers, their short yardage man. He won't get it. They'll go with the pass. This will be Frye. Frye, touchdown, Brown. But a flag is in the end zone.
Holding defense, number 41. That penalty is declined. Resulting play, touchdown.
So it counts. And the Browns are right back in it.
And the Saints are trying to hold up Winslow. He's trying to run a crossing route, and sure enough, it's flagrant holding by Harper. But you know, the fact is, again, the legs of Charlie Frye. He's the guy that has opened up the Cleveland Browns offense.
Dawson puts it through, and Charlie Frye has done it all. A little passing, a little running, gets his second career touchdown as he brings the Browns back into this game. Drive 12 plays, 74 yards, capped off by, of course, Charlie Frye doing it on his own. And that drive has been about those two guys, Winslow and Frye. Your two young impact players.
And that was the kind of offense during that series, Ron, that we kind of expected coming into this game.
Didn't see it right away, but you're right.
No, we sure didn't. But as we watched them practice, we said, gee, you know, Braylon Edwards, you got Winslow, you've got, you know, Northcutt, Drew Brees, you got some guys, and Charlie Frye can make it happen. But it, certainly in the early part of the game it didn't, but now it's happening for the Browns.
They'll kick this one off, fake the reverse. That's Jamal Jones, and Jones is hit hard at about the 28-yard line. Charlie Frye, the Akron Zip, zipping it along here in Cleveland. And we've got a tight one here in Cleveland in the 2006 NFL kickoff. First and 10 for Drew Brees and the Saints. They'll go back to the run game. That's McAllister as he picks his way inside. Things didn't always start out good for the Cleveland Browns. They started off with the fumble. And then Reggie Bush got into it. He's been what I would call pretty spectacular today. And as this guy has been as well, Marcus Colston had a touchdown catch. And then the Browns came back. The penalty there on the almost touchdown play. But it's really been Charlie Frye. Charlie Frye, once he decided to get out of the pocket and run, it changed the game for the Cleveland Browns. The throw inside the Bush. Bush has some free room. He gets out at about the 40-yard line, but he's got a first.
Boy, Drew Brees really made a great play on that last play right there, getting that ball to Bush. He was under pressure. He was so cool in the pocket. He just kind of backed away from all that pressure and laid that ball off. You know, his numbers aren't spectacular today, but he's been efficient with the ball. And he's getting it to the guy that Sean Payton wants him to get it to.
Right.
He's getting that ball to Reggie Bush and the Colston.
First and 10, Campbell in motion. Looking up the seam, throws it back deep. What a catch by Joe Horn. Do they call it complete? No.
Joe Horn wants a challenge.
Joe Horn wants a challenge. He's saying challenge it. Now, if you're Sean Payton, this is your first year in the league as a head coach, and the wily veteran to say challenge it, what do you do?
Well, I think you challenge it. I think you go with Joe Horn. He's caught enough balls. He knows if he was underneath that ball and had control of it. I think you go with him.
I think they're going to give it to him anyway. Sean Payton has not challenged it.
Catch for a first down.
They changed their mind. Now Romeo can challenge. He can challenge that it wasn't caught on the other side. He's got his hand in his pocket.
He's waiting for the replay from the booth.
He's got time as long as they can get it off before the snap. I can see the red flag coming out. It wants to come out, but it's not going to make it. Play stands. Bush trying to get the corner. Can't do it. Taken down rookie on rookie. Another first-round pick. That's Cameron Wimbley. First rounder out of Florida State.
Well, I think Wimbley might be one of the real defensive rookies in this league. He penetrates upfield here, gets Reggie Bush behind the line of scrimmage. Of all the defensive rookies I saw in the preseason, I think this guy has a chance to be real special. It's the first time we've really talked about him today, but he's just getting his feet wet in the NFL. But from Florida State, he has big play potential written all over him.
Mainly a rush defensive end at Florida State. The screen, middle screen, Bush trying to get busy. And he's out across 40 inside the 40 to about the 38-yard line. Let's go to Los Angeles for Chris Rose in this game break.
All right, Ron, from a rookie to a guy that's getting a fresh start down in Dallas. T.O. and his bad hammy ready to lace it up for the Cowboys as they take on Jacksonville. Most of you will see that game. But right now, let's send you back to Cleveland with Ron and Terry.
All right, Chris, big drive, big third down for the New Orleans Saints. Shotgun for Brees. Plenty of time. The post corner route is wide open, and they made it look easy. Devery Henderson, and Henderson, a guy that they've been waiting for a while to show up, shows up big for 19 and a first.
Devery Henderson just runs a post corner. As you said, there's a lot of grass out there for Drew Brees to work with, and credit the offensive line. Brees could count the house back there. He had so much time, and a quarterback gets comfortable when you allow him to get his feet set and look over the field.
Baxter didn't get enough depth on that other side. Left it wide open. Breathing room now for the Saints as they give it to McAllister. McAllister still rolling. Deuce McAllister inside the 5-yard line. 17 big ones.
The Saints obviously have some real offensive. They got Deuce McAllister. Here he's just running a little counter play. He sees some daylight. You can watch how strong he is. He breaks tackles, lowers his shoulder, pounds that ball down by the goal line. But then you come back with a Reggie Bush. You come back with Colston as a receiver. You come back with Joe Horn, who you haven't heard much of. They've got some weapons.
Right. That's right. You can see the first downs, first quarter, since they've evened up, but forget all that because the Saints are on a great drive. Brees going for the touchdown on the quarterback sneak. And he almost got it. When you've got Big Ted Washington hanging on your feet, that's like dragging the Queen Mary around.
I might decide to run outside the guard or something rather than right at Big Ted Washington, as you say. But what an impressive drive for the Saints. Cleveland has a great drive of their own, puts this game, really makes it a game in the second half. But the Saints come right back and respond.
Second and goal. McAllister, the tailback. Campbell, the lead fullback, as a tight end, and they can't get there.
Ron, I'm going to go back to your point earlier. Remember, the Saints have lost both of their fullbacks, right? Now they're down in short yardage, and they have to put a tight end as a lead blocker. So you don't have the same kind of running style with a tight end leading you through as you do a heavy fullback. That's a real problem when you get down in short yardage.
As Todd Grantham, the defensive coordinator, not just trying to play a tune, trying to get his boys ready to make this stop. This could be the game. Timeout. We'll step away. (16-14). Decision time about to come up here for Sean Payton. If he misses this, coach, do you go for it or do you kick your points?
You know, the conservative thing is to kick, but I think he's going to go for it. He's got a young team. He's a young head coach. He wants to establish the Saints here on the road.
They spread him out. Third and goal. McAllister, the lone back. Throw inside. Incomplete. McGinnis may have gotten a hand on it. Fourth down. Ralph Brown, the veteran, on the coverage.
Ralph Brown has pretty good coverage at the top here. Now he's undersized in this matchup, but he gets inside position and the ball is thrown inside. Not a great throw by Drew Brees, but there wasn't much room to throw it. And Sean Payton has elected to kick instead of go for it. And it is a smart thing to do. But I really thought, talking to him the other night, he might go for it. He seems to me to be a gambler, but this is the right call.
You make it, you go up by 5. Now you make him have to get a touchdown to beat you. 20 yards out, Carney. And Carney has been solid all day long. That's his 4th field goal. Tuesday night, after an all-new house, watch the FBI's top negotiators work it out on and off the streets. It's the biggest new drama of the season, Standoff. An all-new Tuesday at 9, 8 Central. Central right here on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised. But all in all, as you've alluded to earlier, Coach, I think Sean Payton has called an outstanding game.
Well, there's no question about it. He's done a great job with this offense. And I think going back to that 4th down and 1, if he had his fullbacks in the game, I think he might have gone for that. Even though statistically you probably ought to kick it. But, you know, when your 2 fullbacks are out and you can't power the ball in there, he had to throw on 3rd down. And so as a result, you know, you don't have confidence in your running game punching it in there.
So we're 19-14, 5:42 left as you look at the scoring drive. Drew Brees threw 1 pick today. Let it go a little late. But outside of that, he's been pretty darn solid. This will be Carney to kick away, kicking against the wind a little bit. He's put a couple into the end zone, and that ball playing tricks on us will die out. That name has a different commissioner. That ball has a different commissioner's name on it. Not Paul Tagliabue. It's Roger Goodell, the new NFL commissioner. Officially took over at the helm a couple weeks ago.
And I think he'll do a great job with the NFL, but certainly Paul Tagliabue had a wonderful run. He did some wonderful things for the league, and I think is so well respected around the world and what he's brought and how he's brought the NFL to the world.
Carney kicks it away. Nice kick into the wind, taken by Cribbs at about the goal line. Stops his feet, gets out to about the 17-yard line. Danny Clark gone to tackle. Don't forget, doubleheader action coming your way next. The Dallas Cowboys, T.O., the Tuna, and Jacksonville. You had to know all of that was coming.
Well, T.O.'s just been waiting for the regular season. He wanted to get through that preseason, and now he's in the big stage and on the big stage, and he's ready to go. Nobody likes game day any better than T.O. I promise you, being around him in San Francisco.
1st and 10 for Frye. Looking for the pump and go. They don't have it. This could be a sack. It is. That might be the 3rd sack of the day for Bryant Young. Bryant Young has lived in the Browns' backfield, but there could be a penalty on this play right here in this area of the field.
Well, there's a bump downfield, certainly. Now you have to decide, is that Winslow's problem or is it the DB's problem? But I think that they'll probably say that it was not Winslow's problem. And sure enough, here on the sack, there's just pressure once again on Frye, and when he can't find room to go, he's in trouble.
There is no foul for blocking downfield, and the quarterback was sacked. 2nd down.
Yeah, that was hard to call there, Ron, you know, because the DB had position.
He's got a right to his position on the field. He can't initiate contact.
Absolutely, and he didn't. Winslow just kind of ran into him and jammed him, and they could have maybe called, you know, some kind of offensive pass interference, possibly on Winslow, but the ball wasn't thrown in his direction.
Maybe give those DBs some love during that.
You know I like those DBs.
2nd and 20. The dump over the middle. Winslow. And Winslow fights too close to the 30-yard line.
Ron, that doesn't look like much of a play sometimes when you're watching a game like that, but just a little dump pass like that for Frye, that gets him back into a manageable 3rd down. You know, you pick up 7-8 yards, and all of a sudden you're sitting there 3rd and 8. That's a whole lot easier than 3rd and 15 or 3rd and 17.
3rd down and 8 it is. 4 down territory, Coach?
No. No, not at this point in the game. You punt the ball and play some defense.
3rd and 8 pressure. Sack. Safety blitz. Roman Harper from way back there. And that's 5 sacks on the Cleveland Browns today.
Well, Gary Gibbs does a great job. There's no question about it. You can see Harper, number 41, The Saints haven't brought a lot of pressure today, but when they brought it, it's been effective. And sure enough, in this particular drive, they get the corral built around Charlie Frye. They get him fenced in, and that's what you want to do with a guy that has legs like he has.
So they'll punt it away. Reggie Bush is back deep. That's a screamer there. Bush isn't even going to be able to get a hold of it. Actually, a pretty nice punt because it goes right out of bounds, 60 yards with the roll for Dave Zastudel. And there's a quick look at the game summary. The yards discrepancy, of course, big for the Saints. They got all of that in the first half. Cleveland just didn't look like they were all on the same team, and I think that's because they weren't for a long time. You got so many young guys that finally were on the field together. Winslow, Braylon Edwards, young quarterback, new quarterback from last year, only had 5 games under his belt. And, you know, the preseasons don't give you much of a chance to put everything together.
And the mistakes hurt him a lot.
Yeah.
Their own mistakes.
So this is deuce, and the Saints are going to go into a run mode, try to grind this thing out. And the way they've been running it, Cleveland's going to have to come up with a play just to get the ball back.
Now, Cleveland, you know, they brought big Ted Washington in to make sure that teams couldn't run the ball on him any longer. And they, you know, they were sitting there with him in the middle, and with that kind of inside support, they wanted to believe that they could stop the running game. But the offensive line for the Saints today has certainly controlled the line of scrimmage, whether Ted Washington is there or not.
5 yards for McAllister, 2nd and 5. I got to believe they'll work on the clock a little bit. McAllister again. And he's pushed back, thrown back. And that looked like Orpheus Roy in there. Timeout is called by the Cleveland Browns.
That's a good timeout by the Browns right there.
Major League Baseball heading your way. Don't forget the Red Sox and the Yankees renew their rivalry. Also, the Phillies and the Astros square off. Plus, you'll see the White Sox battle with the A's in a possible playoff preview. Coverage begins 1 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on Fox. And there's a look at the standings coming into today. The Yankees beat up on Boston earlier in that series. And then after that, just took off and ran with it.
The Angels are in some trouble.
The Angels are in some trouble.
My favorite team's always Oakland A's. The other ones, oh yeah, I love Billy Beane. I think he does a great job with that sour cap. This is a critical 3rd down here, Ron. And, you know, again, going back, the Saints don't have a fullback. It's not a comfortable position to be in without your fullback. You've got to pick up a yard. You'd like to be able to hammer it in there. You may not be able to do that without your fullback.
They'll go 3rd and 1 trips, trying to spread out that defense a little bit. McAllister is in the backfield. Showing blitz, they're going to bring blitz, man to man. They've run right into it. Great call by Todd Grantham, the defensive coordinator. Andre Davis, the leading tackler. He had almost 200 tackles last year.
Yeah, this play had no chance to work. They were simply outnumbered mathematically. The Browns just brought 2 extra guys right there. They just said, hey, this is the game. We got to get the ball back. And sure enough, without a lead blocker, it was just difficult to pick up 1 yard.
And Dennis Northcutt has been flirting with some good returns all day. He almost broke one earlier. And he'll be back deep to receive this punt, and that was the first 3 and out today for the Saints. A line driver, these are usually comeback balls if you get a good roll. He got the good roll. Breaks the first wave and gets hog-tied at the 35-yard line, and there goes the flag. That's Terrence Melton. He came with the old school wrap-up. Look at that.
Foul, tackling by the face mask. Kicking team, number 51. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down.
And Melton thought he made a great defensive play, but anytime you get your hands around that face mask, even close to it, he's getting an earful right there from Sean Payton, because this was a very, very costly penalty.
And somebody needs to separate those guys, because this is the most crucial part of the game.
Fox NFL.
We'd like to welcome everybody to Cleveland, Ohio, and we've got a good one going on here. The Saints are up by 5. The Saints started out beating up on the Cleveland Browns. A bunch of field goals by John Carney on the legs of Charlie Frye. Second-year quarterback, they are back in it. Frye throws, and it's incomplete, intended for Joshua Cribbs. And Reggie Bush came in highly billed, and he has been very good. He's run it, he's caught it, returned punts, and all in all, he's been an impact player. The Browns got into it with Winslow, and the Saints got into it with a rookie named Marcus Colston. But as I said, on the legs of Charlie Frye, once he started to run, the game changed for the Cleveland Browns. The Saints defense has been very stingy, especially against the run. That ball intended outside for Braylon Edwards, and it's incomplete. Quick look at the game summary. As I mentioned, the yard discrepancy, all for the New Orleans Saints. They got off to a great start. Bush, 163 total yards. And McAllister has done his part as well. We'd like to welcome all of you in the 4 o'clock games. 3rd and 10. This could be the last chance for the Cleveland Browns. Frye in trouble, shovel pass, and it's dropped, but a flag is down in the secondary, intended for Jerome Harrison.
Usually when that flag is that deep, Ron, it's going to be some kind of defensive holding.
Illegal contact, defense, number 22. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Boy, you talk about a huge, huge break for Cleveland. Here they've got him in third down and 10, and all of a sudden Cribbs is trying to run a route here, and you see Fred Thomas, he bumps him deeper than 5 yards, and they're going to call it every time that happens.
The Browns in comeback mode with a second chance. That ball is thrown, intercepted. And that could do it. Josh Bullock. And just like that, the air is out of the bubble for the Cleveland Browns in the home opener. And I was just about to talk about the one comeback Charlie Frye had last year against the Oakland Raiders. But we can't talk about it now. I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, that ball actually was right on the money. Braylon Edwards, that ball hit him and it bounced off, and then Bullocks came up with the interception. Charlie Frye actually looked to me like he threw a good pass in that particular case. You know, you've got to make plays like that when you're Braylon Edwards. That's a big catch in the game. The Browns are still alive until this interception.
That's McAllister, and a timeout will be burned, of course, by the Cleveland Browns, and that'll be their final timeout. A quick look at Reggie Bush today. Started off with the punt, misjudged one. The second one he returned a little bit better. Then he started running the ball, and you could see the speed come through.
That second, third gear we talked about early in the game. And his hands are much better than I ever imagined. He can pluck the ball out of the air with his hands. Most running backs really can't do that like Reggie Bush can.
But you just can't get over the good stories you're hearing down in New Orleans about everything he's done there. And walked into the meeting room, and it was interesting what he said about playing in the NFL. He said, you know, the hard part is just knowing the assignments, where I've got to be, who I've got to get, especially in blitz pickup situations. But running the ball, he said, that's the easy part.
I've been doing it my whole life, right? It was a terminology. He had to learn a new language. Once he learned it, he can play. You can see that.
No timeouts for either team, and McAllister will keep on running it. And a quick look at the upcoming schedule. Look at the New Orleans Saints. They'll have their big home opener, and they are sold out, are nearly sold out in New Orleans for the season. They've got about 3,000 seats to sell. And you talk about impact and Heisman Trophy winners making big impacts and changing the culture. Well, I'd say that's one way to get it done.
Well, I think the city's trying to make a real statement.
Yep.
The team belongs there.
3rd down and 9. McAllister. 40 seconds and counting.
You know, Romeo Crennel, it's going to go into the record books as a loss for him, but his football team got a lot better in the second half. He did a good job at halftime, going in, talking to his team. Hey, we're still in this game. We just need to do a few things, play a little better, eliminate some mistakes. And his team did that in the second half and looked much more like the team we expected when we came in here. I still think Cleveland can have a good team. This wasn't a particularly good outing for them, particularly in the first half, but they have enough weapons to be a factor.
They just needed to get the weapons on the field. And like we said, preseason is not the time to get better with a lot of young players. It's not going to happen. You just don't have the time. They let it run down to 1 second. That'll be a delay of game. They'll push it back, and this will be the final play of the game.
I think when you look at the game today, you're going to have to say the offense and defensive lines of the Saints were the differences. Both teams have great skilled players, but the lines were controlled by the Saints on both sides of the ball. And the defense particularly surprised me. They were ball hawking, and they put pressure on Charlie Frye all day long.
The Saints will go to Green Bay, and the Cleveland Browns will visit a rival, the Cincinnati Bengals. They won the division last year, and they know that's a team they've got a gun for. For Terry Donahue and Tony Rizzo, I'm Ron Pitts saying so long from Cleveland, where the final score is New Orleans 19, Cleveland 14. Right now, we take you to the AT&T Game Break Show. Here's Kurt Minnick.
Welcome to the AT&T